And now our very own Willis watchdogs are going to weigh in with their picks. Ryan Frazier is the CEO of Western Skies Forum. Larry Winget is the author of Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life. And Brooke Goldstein is the director for the Lawfare Project. Brooke, let's start with you. What was the most important story?
I think the most important story is the fact that the media keeps calling the Arab Spring the Arab Spring. It is the Arab winter. We are not paying attention to the rise in violence, the rise in Islamist terrorism, what's really going on in Egypt. That should be the top story for 2011.
All right, Ryan, what do you say?
Well, Jerry, it's kind of a tie for me. I continue to believe that the continued high unemployment rate is just so high, and that kind of underscores so much of what's going on in our country today and around the world. But also, I think the fall and death of so many dictators and terrorist leaders, obviously Osama bin Laden being the head of all of that, but also Gaddafi and Kim Jong-il just recently. All these things all happening this year, I think, also surfaced to the level that kind of equals out to be one of the top stories of 2011.
Larry.
Well, for me, it was Osama bin Laden, even though it was almost a toss-up with the 72-day marriage of Kim Kardashian.
Oh, come on now. My choice is the economy, I got to tell you. You got 14 million people at points this year looking for work. It's hard to surmount that. Okay. Our founding fathers must be rolling over in their graves with the next story, according to the latest Pew poll. Let me say that again. Pew poll. A whopping 49% of Americans, young folks, say they identify with the Socialist Party. Brian, what in the heck is going on here?
Well, I tell you what, according to that same poll, capitalism still ranks a lot higher than socialism. So we still have that much going for ourselves, Jerry.
Well, that's not a lot to brag about, I got to tell you.
Well, but I will say this, that, I think gradually capitalism equals greed philosophy has tended to gradually go in the minds of a lot of young people. But I bet you if you ask those same young people what their thoughts or opinions were about making money, I guarantee you it would be much more favorable than negative.
But Larry, they like Apple, they've got the iPod, the iPad, the everything. Who are these people that don't like capitalism? Show them to me.
Yeah, people who don't have money don't like capitalism, I guess. No, I think the problem is an education problem. I think we have too many teachers who have developed an entitlement mentality, probably because of their union affiliations, and parents are doing a lousy job by not teaching their kids what capitalism really is. As you said, they need to understand that the reason they got an iPod for Christmas is because of capitalism. Capitalism is when you have an iPod. Socialism is when nobody has enough money to buy an iPod.
Ooh, that's really well put. Brooke, what do you say?
I agree with Larry. I think that the results of this poll are very worrisome. They're very scary. If we're at the point where we haven't succeeded in educating our populace that free market capitalism is the best system we've got, if we have to continue to stress the facts that free market capitalism leads to peace between two similar nations, it promotes creative growth. I mean, this is a problem that we need to fix in our education system, absolutely.
Wow. Kumbaya, boys and girls. An Indiana lawmaker pushing legislation setting performance standards, get this, performance standards for singing and playing the national anthem. Clearly, I would have to shut up in the shower if this happened. State Senator Vanita Becker says anybody who flubs the Star-Spangled Banner should have to pay $25 because the national anthem isn't something to joke about. Larry, is she too serious?
I don't know how we can take her serious on this, really. If we're going to start fining people for butchering songs, couldn't we just pretty much ban American Idol and then move on to Justin Bieber and then go after Mariah Carey? Come on. Leave these people alone so they can't sing and so they butcher the song. Big deal. We have bigger things to worry about.
Bigger fish to fry. What do you say, Brooke?
I think the proposed law in Indiana, and apparently there are similar laws in Florida and Michigan, are dangerously unconstitutional. I would expect this type of law in a totalitarian dictatorship. I would expect it in North Korea, not in the United States of America where we have the First Amendment. Think about all the expressions that would be banned. Think about Jimi Hendrix' wonderful expression of the national anthem with his guitar. That would be banned by this law. Our lawmakers do not have the right to be free speech police like this.
Wow, that was a great explanation of what's wrong with that idea. Ryan, do you want to add in or do you want to move on? I mean, I kind of felt like Brooke said it all.
Well, she probably did say it all, Jerry, but I tell you, like you, when I first read this article, I thought it was another example of government intrusion into our bedrooms. Thank God, I guess, that it only pertains to schools. I will say that when I also read the article, it said that it probably doesn't violate any constitutional rights. It seems to me that it violates all types of common sense, and that's the problem with these types of rules.
Amen to that. Okay, residents of Utah have a pretty legitimate reason to not welcome in the new year. Starting January 1st, the state is putting the kibosh on happy hour. How can this be? Banning all daily drink specials. Brooke, are you angry about that too? Because I am.
What does Utah have against being happy? I mean, come on. I just don't see the wisdom in this law. It's not going to reduce drinking. It's definitely going to hurt small businesses. And we're seeing a slew of ridiculous laws coming in 2012. Illinois has a law that's going to allow motorcyclists to run a red light if they don't think it's turned green in a reasonable amount of time. This belongs in my iPad app, Weird Laws. It does not belong on the books.
Ryan, what do you say?
Well, it's really hard to keep up with all the laws that continue to come out of all these state legislatures. My first immediate thought was, with an economy that continues to be down, when you have state and local governments that are trying to grapple with controlling spending and exploding deficits at their own levels, where are they going to find the money to enforce all these new laws when they can't find the money to do things they need to do today
amen to that.
already?
You got to wonder why they do it. Larry, what do you have to say?
Oh, it's already too hard to get a drink in Utah. Let's not make it any harder. I think the government ought to butt the hell out of just almost everything, and we need to start encouraging personal responsibility and holding people accountable for their actions, and let the government stop trying to be my mama and tell me what's right and wrong.
Wow. I want to put that on a loop. That is the best last word for this segment, the Willis Watchdogs for the year, that I could possibly imagine. Thanks, guys. Ryan, Larry, and Brooke, great job. Really appreciate it. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year.